Good morning everyone. Today, I am going to present a summary of the chapter, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, written by Nelson Mandela. In this chapter, Mandela describes the historic day of the 10th of May 1994, when he was sworn in as the first democratically elected president of South Africa. The chapter highlights his journey from oppression to freedom and his vision for a united and democratic nation. The day of the inauguration was a moment of great pride and happiness for Mandela and the people of South Africa. The ceremony took place at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Leaders and dignitaries from many countries attended the event to celebrate the birth of a new democratic government. The place that had once symbolized white supremacy had now become the venue for a government based on equality and justice. Mandela was accompanied by his daughter, Zenani, on this important occasion. During the ceremony, F.W. de Klerk was sworn in as the second deputy president, and Thabo Mbeki became the first deputy president. When Mandela took the oath of office, he promised to obey and uphold the Constitution and dedicate himself to the welfare of the nation and its people. In his speech, he declared that South Africa had finally achieved political freedom after years of suffering under apartheid. He expressed hope that the country would never again experience racial oppression and discrimination. He thanked the international leaders who had supported the struggle against apartheid and joined the celebrations. A memorable part of the inauguration was the impressive display by the South African Defence Force. Military aircraft, helicopters, and jets flew in perfect formation over the Union Buildings. This display symbolized the loyalty of the military to the newly elected democratic government. Mandela reflected on how remarkable this change was because the same military and police forces that now saluted him had once arrested and imprisoned him. The sight represented a peaceful transition from oppression to democracy. Another emotional moment was the playing of two national anthems. One was Nkosi Sikelel, I Africa, traditionally associated with black South Africans, and the other was Die Stem, the old anthem of the white minority government. The singing of both anthems demonstrated the spirit of reconciliation and unity that Mandela hoped to foster in the new South Africa. Mandela reflected on the history of his country. He explained how, in the early 20th century, white rulers established a system of racial domination over the black population. This system, known as apartheid, denied basic rights and freedoms to non-white citizens. For decades, black South Africans suffered discrimination, poverty, and injustice. However, by the end of the 20th century, this oppressive system had been overthrown and replaced by a democratic government that recognized the rights of all citizens, regardless of race. Mandela paid tribute to the countless men and women who sacrificed their lives and freedom in the struggle against apartheid. He acknowledged that the victory of democracy was not his achievement alone but the result of the efforts of many brave patriots. He felt honored to represent those who had fought for justice but were not alive to witness the success of their struggle. The chapter also discusses the effects of apartheid. Mandela describes it as a deep wound that caused immense suffering and hardship. However, he points out that oppression also produced great leaders such as Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthuli, Yusuf Dadoo, Bram Fisher, and Robert Sobukwe. Their courage, wisdom, and dedication inspired future generations to continue the fight for freedom and equality. Mandela shares his understanding of courage. He explains that courage does not mean being free from fear. Instead, it means overcoming fear and acting despite it. Throughout his life, he saw many people face torture, imprisonment, and hardship with remarkable strength. Their resilience taught him that bravery is the triumph over fear rather than the absence of it. One of the most powerful messages in the chapter is Mandela's belief in the goodness of human beings. He states that people are not born hating others because of their race, religion, or background. Hatred is learned, and therefore love can also be taught. According to Mandela, love comes more naturally to the human heart than hate. Finally, Mandela reflects on his own journey toward freedom. As a child, he believed he was free, but he later realized that his freedom was limited by unjust laws. Over time, his desire for personal freedom grew into a struggle for the freedom of all South Africans. He concludes that true freedom is indivisible. An oppressor is not truly free because hatred and prejudice imprison him, just as oppression imprisons the oppressed. Drop a comment if you want any lesson. Like, share and subscribe for Empower Aspire.